Welcome with being at home with George during COVID this Sunday afternoon. Very excited to be here with you all. And as I've been thinking about all of the activities that are going on with the vaccine being available, we're starting to get this sense that we could go beyond this isolation. I would say that this COVID is a disease of isolation, not only for people who are dying alone, but people who are still here and not able to mourn or grieve or feel connection. So it's really important. I would say the theme is, how do I stay connected? How do I feel more connected in this time of isolation where I'm not making individual trips to see people or interacting with people in person, but to Zoom? And a lot of us are zoomed out, you might say. And so, how do I stay connected? And I was just thinking about this as I talk to some friends and talk to people that I work with. And that's a challenge, especially in some places where they're shut down and other places where they're opening up. But my idea of connection has to do with this idea of, I'm reminded of what Martin Buber says when he talks about begin with oneself. So making the connection would be the theme, I would say, of today's conversation. And it's this idea of myself is, and it's interesting because the way I stay connected with myself, believe it or not, especially in the old days, I would go into a place where I would be able to do a meditation, do more prayer meditation, either with others or by myself. And right now, I'm actually uh, north up in Maine, and this is how I stay reconnected. And I didn't really understand this for many years when I had my really intense schedule, especially during the winter sports, because they're ongoing. And it was around Christmas when the men and women, when I worked on basketball teams, they were going for Christmas. I would come up here to Maine and just walk along the beach and just meditate and be quiet and read and sleep a little bit more, rest. And that was how I had to recover. So I would call it a recovery activity, but also to get in touch with myself, to let it begin with myself, to be in touch with how I'm feeling. How do I need to be connected to myself? How can I make sure that my words and actions have integrity? To make sure that I'm able to see things in a way where I do what I say I'm going to do, and I mean what I say I'm going to mean, and I'm able to actually perform better. And the only way I can do that is being really clear on my inner life, to begin with me, to straighten myself out, and to get, so to me, that's clarity and understanding what's my purpose, what's my intention, especially if I can go to the whole greater idea of, who am I and where am I going? And I begin that connection or that orientation when I work with folks, and when I get to a point where I am now, where I have a lot of people coming at me and a lot of big things happening, is that I have to go inside and think about, well, what do I want and who do I need to be to do what I want to do, so that I'm not distracted, I'm not pulled off by all of the other things and all of the chaos and the uncertainty that surrounds me, that I'm able to go inside and really get clear about who do I want to be, and where am I going, and how do I get on track? How do I stay true to myself and also to whatever my aim is or whatever my purpose is in this moment? And it's interesting because some of us, in these times where there's so much going on, we don't know where we're going. And maybe the most important thing is, I learned this acronym this week, WIN, WIN. And that's a question that we can start to that helps me get connected, which is, what's important now? And who am I being and where am I going? So this self exploration, this reflection on, what does this mean? And am I doing what I really am interested in doing? Am I being the person I say I want to be? Am I doing the things that I say I want to do? And that comes to our inner life, what we think, what we feel. And going back to Dr. Dre, I have my mind on money, money on my mind. What is my mind on? So my mind needs to be on, how am I feeling? and how do I do what I say I want to do? How can I show up and just do the next thing, do what I need to do in this moment? What's important now? And for me, around recovery and beginning with myself is self-care. You might even call it self-love. I have to take care of what I need, food, clothing, and shelter, social support, loving relationships, but I have to straighten out my relationship with myself so that I could be fully there with others. So I may begin with myself, but I don't end with myself. But to the degree that I'm clear about how I'm being and how I'm relating to others, that's going to enhance my ability to feel connected and for others to hopefully feel connected to me. So there's a quote that comes out of A Way of Man by Martin Buber. When a man has made peace within himself, he will be able to make peace with the whole world. So when I can make peace with myself, I can make peace with the whole world. So that's the key, is to let it begin with me and to really think about how I am being. How can I relate to myself and others in a way where I'm feeling connected, when I'm feeling, and of course that talks about love, that talks about this idea of being in growth mode or in a mode where I have an open heart, open mind, but still being clear about how I'm feeling about things and how do I relate to situations where it's hard to find peace in myself. And so for me, what's been really helpful and really supportive of that is the Serenity Prayer, which is God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So knowing what I can and can't control, what's important now, but also focusing on what I want, focusing on what I want to create, focusing on the hope, as I like to say, and all of these calls is we want to create the possibility of being able to embrace this unease, this frustration, this uncertainty, and at the same time generate hope. And to me, that has a lot to do with saying yes and yes, this is happening, but how can I make it work? What's the lesson here? How can I express myself in this time of turmoil or chaos? And that it's when I can start with myself, when I can just do the next thing, and then the next step will be shown to me. But to me, when I come up here, I'm just being with myself, letting go of all the activities and all of my commitments to so many other people, and just self care, responding to my own needs, being responsible for my own needs, and also this idea of respecting how I'm feeling, respecting who I really am or who I am being, when I could just be still and know and let my heart tell me, as Joseph Campbell says, follow my bliss. When I can start to just tune in, and I need that time to reflect, well, what am I doing? And what does it mean? And is it taking me and to where I want to go? And am I able to be the person that I say I want to be, with my values of love, curiosity, being of service, integrity, wisdom, seeking wisdom, knowing the truth. So those are the things that I think that's really helpful. So to the degree that I can do that and I can straighten myself out, or if I have peace within, then that peace will exude, or I'll meet that peace in the world, even though it's not peaceful. The question becomes, how can I bring peace into the world? And Thich Nhat Hanh talks about this idea of pieces in every step, or you might even say pieces in every breath. And so it's the inner game, it's the immediacy of experience game, of really asking myself, how I feel, what am I doing, where am I going? So being clear in intention, but also having unity of thought and action, and having unity in terms of having a way of monitoring, self-regulating my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions, in terms of, am I on track? Am I feeling more connected with myself? How do I connect with others? And so for me, just coming up here all those years, and I'm just reflecting on it now, I just knew I had to come up here and I had to be near the water. And even if it's a snowstorm, just walking. But the main thing is just taking the time out, taking a pause, doing a process of renewal where I can just reset. and reorganize. And so to me, that's what's really important. So the embracing thing, to the degree that I have peace with myself, it's going to be more of a bigger container to hold whatever comes up, and it's going to be easier for me to generate hope. Oh, I know how to deal with this. I just have to straighten up myself. How can I be at peace? How can I focus on the things that I can change, and let go of the things that I can change? So what am I asking for? Serenity, to accept the things I cannot change. Courage, which means to change the things I can. So I need courage because it's not easy, and it's uncomfortable. Courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So knowing, and when I don't have that clarity, there's confusion. But at some point, if I keep focusing and keep knowing or recognizing that I'm at ease. Sometimes the unease is telling me that I'm not seeing things clearly, or I need to do something else. And most of it is about letting go, letting be, or embracing it, saying yes to it, and then changing it. And that usually means changing how I'm seeing it, changing my feelings, or changing my approach. But that, because we have this masterpiece, because I have this divine energy, whether you call it Buddha nature or Christ consciousness, that I am wired for success if I could just be still and know.